Good morning, all you mini people. It's Pastor Matt. We're excited about FUSEonline. We're gonna sing, we're gonna dance, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna learn. So get ready, let's go!
Hey Fuse Kids, Mrs. Clark here. I'm glad you're watching online. All month we've been talking about integrity. Who remembers what integrity is? Yes, integrity is choosing to be truthful in whatever you say and do. It means that you drop the act. You stop pretending to be someone you're not. You choose to be honest and truthful in every way, as you choose to follow God with your words and actions. Today we're going to play another game about unmasking the truth. This one is the animal edition. I'll read a question about animals and we'll give you 4 answer choices. Only one answer is true. You shout out the correct answer. Ready? Here we go. Question number 1. What are baby goats called? Are they cubs, kids, foals, or pups? If you guessed kids, you're correct. Question number 2. A newborn kangaroo is about the size of a watermelon, lima bean, plum, or grapefruit. Newborn kangaroos are extremely small and are about the size of a lima bean. Question number 3. The smallest mammal in the world is a bumblebee bat, numbat, pygmy marmoset, western harvest mouse. The correct answer is bumblebee bat. Question number 4. Egrets and other birds perch on rhinos because their wings get tired, they get lonely, predators can't attack them, or they feed on parasites. The birds enjoy snacking on parasites being perched on rhinos. Question number 5. What are female elephants called? Lionesses, cows, hens, or ewes? The correct answer is cows. Well done, everybody! You clearly know a lot of truth when it comes to animal facts. And what you didn't know before, you now know. So that's something to celebrate. Let's keep celebrating as we stand up and worship God together.
Took a breath, you had a plan for my every step. You promised to always be by my side. I believe that you are the way, you are the truth, you are the light. So I sing this to you. You keep your promises every day. I will believe in everything that you say. Yeah, in the dark I know you're making a way. Jesus, I will trust you.
Good morning, Fuse kids. It's Pastor Phil. Now, we often think about the Bible as a book, but that's not the full story. It's a collection of books, 66 books in all. Many of these books were originally written as letters. In fact, the Apostle Paul wrote letters to the people who had put their faith in Jesus in the towns where he had helped start new churches. Paul wanted to encourage the people who lived in the city of Philippi, so he sent them a letter which we call the book of Philippians. You see, life wasn't exactly easy for the believers in Philippi. But life wasn't easy for Paul either. In fact, he wrote this letter to the Philippians from prison. Now, Paul hadn't done anything wrong, but he had been put in prison for telling people about Jesus. Now, you might think he'd be feeling sad or angry or discouraged about that, right? We imagine Paul would feel that way because it's natural for us to focus on what's happening to us right now. It's also natural for us to feel afraid of what might happen next. If things are hard or challenging, we tend to focus on that, don't we? We might feel sad or angry or nervous, and if we do, it's important for us to feel those feelings. But if we're not careful, we can spend all of our time just thinking about everything that's wrong in our lives. But there's a better way. It means that we have to look differently at the things that are happening in our lives. Paul told the Philippians how to do it, and we can do the same thing too. Here's what Paul wrote in his letter. Check it out. Finally, my brothers and sisters, always think about what is true. Think about what is noble, right, and pure. Think about what is lovely and worthy of respect. If anything is excellent or worthy of praise, think about those kinds of things. That's Philippians 4:8. That's a pretty great list there, isn't it? I wonder how our lives would change if we chose to focus on things like this. Now, let's get ready for today's Bible story.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8.
Horatio liked to keep track of things in his head. 5 kinds of cereal in the cabinet. 17 braids on his sister Nala's head. 2 voicemail messages left on his parents' landline phone.
Seriously, Mom? You are so stuck in the 1990s.
Horatio was especially good at keeping track of things that went wrong.
Number 1, we're out of chocolate frosted sugar bomb cereal.
Horatio's mother did not always appreciate his lists.
I did not buy that. Your dad bought that.
Number 2, it is freezing in here.
Put on a sweater.
Number 3, Miss Watson is making us do a group project and they are the worst because everyone else drags me down.
Horatio, can you please focus on something positive for once?
Just keeping it real.
Oh, I know about positive stuff. Miss Christie told us.
Horatio's little sister Nala began rummaging around in the stacks of random paper on the counter.
There is nothing positive about this morning, and I'm positive about that.
Nala pulled out a scribbled-on handout and waved it triumphantly.
Philippians 4:8.
Do not read me a coloring sheet.
Finally, my brothers and sisters, always think about what is true. Think about what is noble, right, and pure.
Mom, make her stop bugging me.
No, this is good.
Think about what is lovely and worthy of respect. If anything is excellent or worthy of praise, think about those kinds of things.
Horatio just glared and checked out the lunch that Mom had packed.
Is this strawberry jam in my sandwich? You know I only eat apricot jam.
Over the next 2 hours, Horatio counted dozens of annoying things.
Number 1, this bus stinks like dirty socks stuffed with Cheetos. Number 2, the classroom door needs some WD-40. Number 3, Miss Watson is wearing yellow, and I hate yellow. Number 4, this pencil is making a giant callus on my finger. Number 5, group projects are still the worst. Number 6, it's way too hot over here.
And to make matters worse, Miss Watson had put Tish James in charge of the group. Ugh.
So,
We get to do a report on Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. I'll write the history, and Jordan, you can paint a picture, and Horatio, you research stuff about the land and animals around it.
Number 7. Tish is super bossy.
Oh, and here's a picture of the lighthouse.
Tish held up a glossy photograph and Horatio opened his mouth, ready to complain about how boring lighthouses were. But he couldn't do it. Hatteras Lighthouse, spiraling into the sunset sky, was breathtaking. He could picture walking the beach and waves crashing as the warm light glowed overhead. And Horatio couldn't help hearing an echo of his little sister's voice.
Think about what is lovely and worthy of respect.
There it was, right in front of his face. Horatio found brand new thoughts forming in his brain.
Hey, that looks really cool. That's amazing.
It was as if a switch had flipped in Horatio's head. After seeing one good thing, he started to see more. Jordan had brought in some paintings he had done.
Number 1, Jordan, you are a really great artist.
Miss Watson helped Horatio solve some tough fractions by drawing a funny sketch.
Number 2, Miss Watson is a super creative teacher.
Mom had packed homemade cookies in Horatio's lunch.
Number 3, my mom makes the best chocolate chip cookies on the planet. Who wants to share?
By the time Horatio got off the school bus,
Number 4, Mr. Rob drove us right up to our house because of the rain.
he was actually smiling. Mom met them at the door.
Hey kids, how was school?
At that moment, Nala shook out her wet umbrella all over Horatio. And for a moment, Horatio frowned. Nala braced herself.
Sorry.
Number 5, I have a closet full of dry clothes upstairs.
Nala's eyebrows shot way up.
What happened to you?
Nothing. I just realized I've got some pretty great things to focus on.
So your day went okay?
Number 6, it was positively awesome.
Horatio beamed and ran upstairs to change his wet shirt. He had a lot of brand new lists to make up in his head.
Here's the thing. When we look at life the way Paul talked about in his letter, it doesn't mean that things aren't hard or that they won't be hard in the future. But when we choose to focus on what's good in our lives and what God is doing, it allows us to see even the bad things in a whole new way. We can always remember what's true about God. He loves us. He'll always be with us. He'll be there to help us through the tough times no matter what. You and I can choose to do this. Focus on what's true. When we think that way, we can have joy even when times are hard. We can focus on how good God is and how God is working in our lives every single day. And then we'll see the world in a more truthful way. Speaking of joy, let's stand and sing, I've Got Joy.
Everything I want, everything I need, you are. When nobody else is listening to me, you are. Before my heart took its first beat, you already loved me, Lord. And in your kindness, you saved me. You're all that I'm living for. I wanna live your
It's cool the way we think has so much to do with our integrity. We make the wise choice when we set our mind on what's good, right, noble, and worthy of praise. We can choose to focus on what's true, that God made us, God loves us, and God has a good plan for our lives. Then we'll be able to see the good that's all around us. Say this with me. Focus on what's true. It can be hard for us to do that when life doesn't go the way we want it to. I mean, think about Jesus' disciples. When Jesus died on the cross, it seemed like the worst thing that could possibly happen. They couldn't see how it was part of God's plan. But when Jesus came back to life, they realized that God's plan was good in the end. That's why it's so important for us to think in a truthful way. Living with integrity means not only being truthful, but also focusing on what is true. So when you feel frustrated because you have to get off the screen, focus on the fact that you have parents who love you and care about what's best for you. Instead of getting annoyed with your little brother or sister, focus on the fact that it's kind of cool to have someone who looks up to you. Instead of being sad about missing out on things, focus on the things you get to do instead. If you choose to look for the good, true, and excellent things, you'll find them all around. It's time to say goodbye now. We will see you back here next week. Remember to visit our LifePoint Christian Church website to download your God Times. Bye, guys!
Oh, hey, I didn't know that you guys were still here. Kids Fuse is over. We had a great time. It was a great morning, and it's, time to do the next thing, which is our 10 a.m. service at LifePoint Christian Church, and we want you to go. So go get your mom, go get your dad, go get your grandpa and your grandma and your aunt and your uncle and everybody else that's in your house. Gather them around the TV or gather them around the computer, and then click here on this link, and that's going to take you to our 10 a.m. service at LifePoint Christian Church, and we'll see you there, okay? Thanks again for watching.